This is Johnny Branch, and this is my Manic posting for week 1 for EDD 806, and it is in response to the reading by Regaluth and Joseph, 2010, The Systemic Change Process in Education, a Conceptual Framework. I chose as my most important a statement found on page 106, the second paragraph. It is important to understand that to invent a fundamentally different educational system will require helping people to evolve their mindsets about education. I believe that this is most important because in bringing change at a systemic level, which basically means many times creating a whole new type of organization, you have to move people from their traditional or ingrained ideas about what school or what your organization should look like to a mindset where they are able to accept new methods, new strategies, and new outcomes. For my agree statement, I want to look at the section titled Learning Organization, which begins on page 102. Just a few statements from that section. First, many researchers have found that developing a learning organization is an important aspect to pursuing the systemic change process, which is in paragraph 1. The second paragraph by the authors, the learning organization is what an organization strives to become. It is an ideal vision of an organization. And the 1990 quote, an organization that is continually expanding its capacity to create its future. For such an organization, it is not enough to merely survive. Survival learning, or what is more often termed as adaptive learning, is important indeed. It is necessary, but for a learning organization, adaptive learning must be joined by generative learning, learning that enhances our capacity to create. I agree with this statement. First, in creating learning organizations that have a systemic view, where the stakeholders have a systemic view of the organization, with a unified effort towards meeting the goals and creating that ideal learning organization. In many schools, and again in mine as well, you have so many different components of the organization, different classrooms and different teaching philosophies. And you have some classrooms which still use activities out of the textbooks and questions at the ends of chapters, and those are the types of activities that the students might do. Yet in the classrooms which reflect what our vision is for our learning organization, you will find learning that is focused more on developing problem-solving skills and having students to create products that represent their learning, and activities which require investigations and reflections. If we are to truly bring change at a systematic level to the educational system, we have to have that vision for the new learning environment, what it's supposed to be, what are the goals of our organization, and do all of the stakeholders, do all of the instructors, do all of the learning environments support the characteristics of the learning organization that we have articulated in the vision. It may seem blasphemous to disagree with Regaluth, but I had to choose a not agree section, so I chose from page 108 under system view the statement, for years educators have been trying to analyze why their schools are failing by observing the classroom, talking with teachers, parents, and principals, and identifying various school indicators of improvement. And then we see the statement of systemic properties are destroyed when a system is dissected. I disagree with this because I think in determining where you want to go with your organization, with your system, you have to know what the shortcomings are. And I do think that analysis of data as to attendance, student achievement, what have you, those things are important. You must know what is going on in the components of your organization in order to determine exactly where it's falling short. So I don't think that looking at individual components necessarily disrupts a systemic effort to change an organization. My interesting point is taken from the section titled Evolved Mindsets, the first paragraph on page 107, and I will read portions of this paragraph. There is a socio-cultural and ideological vision that is deeply ingrained in our minds for what we call school. And the author speaks of classrooms, each with a teacher lecturing to students, textbooks, blackboard, chalk, principal, passing standardized exams, grade levels, courses, subject areas, grades and credits. And I believe what we're looking at here is the author's presentation of this is what we normally think of when we think of school. And perhaps in changing the system, we have to look at school in a different way. Again, we have to have our mindset to evolve into something else, to be more akin to seeing school as, what the outcome is supposed to be, the outcome of learning, and how we get there. Do all students arrive at a learning objective in the same amount of time? Do all students need to be in a classroom for 8,100 minutes in a year? Can they master the material and move on, and perhaps even graduate early? These are things that are hard for a lot of educators to grasp and even believe in, just because, as the author says, it is ingrained. So I see this as very interesting, and if education is to change systemically and evolve into something new, it will require a changing of mindset. I found confusing the section on metaphors, where the author says that metaphors are important tools in helping people to see and understand complex systems and to develop a systems view of education. I was especially confused when I got to the part about psychic prisons. I just believe that in trying to move people toward a common vision, to understanding the learning organization and what it is supposed to be, in evolving their mindsets, I believe that it's better to speak literally about your organization, more literally about the system and the relationships between the parts of the system.